Hi guys, today we are going to solve Leetcode question number 2965, which is find missing and repeated values. The description here says that you are given a zero index 2D integer matrix grid of size n cross n with values in the range 1 to n square. Each integer appears exactly once except a, which appears twice, and b, which is missing. The task is to find the repeating and missing numbers a and b. Return a zero index integer array answer of size 2 where answer of 0 equals to a and answer of 1 equals to b. Okay, so we can see that in the first example it is given input that grid is a 2 cross 2 matrix which has elements 1, 3 and 2, 2. So we can see that the repeated element is 2 and the missing value is 4. So as it is not, as these values are coming from 1 to n square, like 1, then we have to count from 1 to 2 square, which is 1 to 4. We can see that here 2 is coming 2 times, thus it will be counted as a repeated value, and since 4 is not coming, then it will be counted as a missing value. So the output will here be given as 2, 4. Okay, so for the solution approach, there can be many number of approaches. Like we can create a hash table and we can count the elements if they are appearing twice or none, and then we can return the value which has 0 or more occurrences of it. And the second would be the mathematical approach, and the third would be the bitwise approach. Like we can see two elements if they have, we know that when there are two elements and we take XOR of it, then it gives 0. So that would be helpful. And if we are doing it with, and if we are doing XOR of a number with 0, then it gives that value only. So we can use that logic also. But here in this solution, we are using mathematical approach. Firstly, we will calculate the actual sum that will have to be if n cross n grid is given. So we can calculate the actual sum by the formula n square into n square plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so here we can derive an equation like S actual equal to S1 plus A minus B, or we can say that A minus B is equal to S actual minus S1, and like this will be the expected. Expected would be the n square into n square plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so for the actual sum of square value, we will calculate the actual sum of square with the grid given, and then we will take expected value of sum of squares by the formula n square into n square plus 1 into 2 into n square plus 1 divided by 6. Okay, so we can see, so we can derive an equation which is S actual square equal to S expected plus A square minus B square. Or we can say that S actual sum of squares equal to S actual sum of square minus A square plus B square. Okay, so we can use two equations here, which is A minus B equals to S actual minus S1, which is the expected sum, and A square minus B square equal to S actual square minus expected sum of square. Okay, so when we will factorize it, we can see that A minus B into A plus B equal to S actual square minus S2, and then we can put the value of A minus B, which is S actual minus S1, to it, and then we can derive the formula which is A plus B equals to S actual square minus S2 upon S actual square minus S1, and that we can store it into another variable known as sum AB. So we can calculate the value of A by the formula sum actual minus S expected plus sum of AB divided by 2. As we can see that S actual minus S1 equal to A minus B, and sum A plus B equals to A plus B. Thus B will be cancelled and there will be 2 A's. Therefore we will be divided by 2. Therefore the value of A will be calculated. We can calculate the value of B using the formula sum AB minus A. As we can see that sum AB contains both the values A plus B, and to obtain the value of B, we can subtract the value of a by it. So we will get two values, a and b, and thus we can return these values. So the time complexity of this approach will be big O of n square, as we are going through the grid using a for loop and we are extracting the value of sum and the sum square of the elements. Okay, and the space complexity will be big O of 1, as we are not storing any value and we are using some variables, and that would have the space complexity of big O of 1 only. Okay, so the code here goes by like this. Like first we will calculate the length of the grid and store it in the variable n, and then we will calculate the value of size, which will be n into n, and then we will calculate expected sum of a square, which will be obtained by the expected sum, which will be obtained by the formula size into size plus 1, and then we will calculate the value of long expected sum of a square, which will having the formula size into size plus 1 into 2 into size plus 1 divided by 6. And we will type convert it to long, as the sum of a square and the sum of elements might be long. Thus it would be beneficial if we store it in the long variable. Okay, so now we will take two long variables to store the value of actual sum of the elements and the actual sum of a square of the element. We will initialize it by 0 in the first place. Now we will generate a for loop and we will extract each row from the grid. Now the inner loop will be from num to num for that present row. Now we can have the value actual sum plus equal to num and actual sum square equal to plus equal to num into num. So that will store the square of the sum, and we will typecast it to long. Now we will extract the values of a plus b, a minus b, and the sum values as I have mentioned in the solution approach. We will take the value of actual sum minus expected sum and store it in the value diff1, and like it will store the value of a minus b. Okay, so in the second diff2 I will store the value of actual sum square minus expected sum square. So it will have the value of a square minus b square. Now I will store the value of a plus b in the value sum. It can be calculated using the formula diff2 by diff1, as we know that formula a square minus b square equals to a plus b into a minus b, and if we divide it by diff1, which is a minus b, thus we will come in get the value a plus b. So we will store it into the long sum variable. Now we will calculate the value of integer a by the formula diff1 plus sum whole divided by 2. Like we can see that value of diff1 is a plus a minus b, and the value of sum is a plus b. Thus we will get 2a. When we will divide by 2, thus we will get the value of a. We can calculate the value of b by the formula sum minus a, as we know the value of sum a plus b and we know the value of a. Now thus we will calculate the value of b. Now we will return the array having the elements a and b. Now I will run this code. So it passes all the test cases. Now I will submit it. So it beats 100% solution. Thank you.